All right, this is the engineered light, and you see my shadow that's reaching up to the ceiling, touching the ceiling. This is the light activity that I was molested with inside of my office yesterday, where I walked out and Carla Lopez and the group stalker that was in the cab on the premises, which is relevant positioning and light activity creation, while monitoring, knowing exactly what I'm doing. That's why you maintain this impossible light activity. He's a group stalker that's engaging in the perpetual sex offense. The entity molests with engineered light to place you under surveillance, engaging in this demonic behavioral pattern of what is federal group stalking and monitoring. And so that was documented yesterday. And so I just want to show you it's the same light activity, the same impossible light activity, which is separate from the concentrated light, which is another method of engineered light. My apartment is filled with it. It's serving an ongoing sex offense while I'm under surveillance, and it is filling inside of what is the private space. And as I've also shown you, this is the engineered light that covers the property. The people of the state are group stalking in Los Angeles, which is what the state of California is doing. I'm in Los Angeles showing how there is no exception to that, how the specific environment is maintained and it is outside of anything that will be consistent with what the entity is trying to suggest is the natural environment. It is anything but that. The pattern of conduct is underway. And so today I want to remind you about April 24th, 2022, where the entity is maintaining the light source directly over me, which you're going to pay attention to the light activity, meaning my shadow. My shadow is directly, the light activity of the objects where the light source is hovering over me. For example, at the intersection of San Antonio and Holt Boulevard in Ontario, California. And if that was the sun at 7:34 a.m., I'm going to capture video, but it's the same time. The entity is keeping the light source in perfect alignment with my apartment, my living room window, in suggesting that that's light activity. That light activity is sunlight that's resulting from that sun that's in alignment with my living room window on the third floor at 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6 in Los Angeles, 90026, while at the same time, the entity is at 7:34 a.m., which again, I'm going to remind you of that documentation. Not only is that not the sun, that was a pattern of conduct, and this is the pattern of conduct. Engineered light covers the grounds. The entity is engaging in what is systematic group stalking in concert with the people of the state, and that's why this unnatural environment is present, serving that criminal system that is covert until now. It's exposed now, and the entity is engaging in what is an ongoing accumulation of evidence, serving what's a very severe federal prosecution, not only because they are group stalking, monitoring, they being the people and the state, but because the entity is posing an impermissible threat to the life of one whom is documenting the fact that that criminal system is what they're subject to, which in and of itself is a threat to the life. All the methods employed, demonic and criminal and despicable, employing a demon-possessed, corrupt law enforcement agency to engage in the elements of monitoring and then threatening you and then continuously invading with what is a method, a weapon of the criminal system, which is the engineered light. And that's how you know what this person is. They're in engineered light because there is no sun that will be present over the property. There's no sunlight that will be touching on the property while they are maintaining their presence, their intentional presence, which is serving a criminal system. That's the elements of monitoring that they're engaging in, monitoring me to the sound of my voice. And also a demon that knows exactly what I'm saying, and they're acting on behalf of the entity. All right, it's currently 7:31 a.m., and in 3 minutes, you're talking about what is the same exact location of the entity's maintenance of a light source. There is no sun that is present in its zenith over me at 7:34 a.m. at San Antonio and Holt Boulevard, outside of 706 West Holt Boulevard, Starbucks, a third-party facilitating venue that is monitoring American citizens, by the way, engaging in what is the demonic behavioral pattern of molesting, targeting, terrorizing with directed light. All of this Starbucks has been documented engaging in. But for today, for purposes of understanding what the state is engaging in concert with the people, I want to remind you about what the entity was doing with the light source, suggesting that that was the natural environment on April 24th, 2024 at 7:34 in the morning, which is impossible to coexist. And if that was the sun on April 24th at 7:34, as I stood at that intersection outside of third-party facilitating venue Starbucks that was monitoring me in concert with the people of the state who were pacing all around in that engineered light and under that light source, because there is no sun that would be in alignment with my apartment outside of my living room window, visible, aiming any light whatsoever. As you also know that that's not sunlight that's piercing through my closed blinds, creating layers of light, creating this light, multiple shadows, magnified to the ceiling, nor on the floor. All right, it's impossible because it's not sunlight. It's also impossible because the sun is in its zenith over me at Starbucks at 706 West Holt Boulevard at 7:34 a.m. It's 7:32 a.m. right now. And you already know what the entity is doing on a daily basis with what is engineered light inside of the private space. This is the maintenance of the specific environment which is the pattern of conduct. It's the direct evidence against the people of the state. This environment exists because the system of federal group stalking and monitoring is supposed to occur within the appearance of what's the natural environment. There's nothing natural about it, and it's serving for a massive prosecution. All of them live in relevant position under what is not possibly the sun. And one example of that, while you're looking at this in its zenith, and where it's not only here, which is impossible, if that was the sun on April 24th at the same time, it's currently 7:33 a.m. That video was captured at 7:34 a.m., so this is the same time. Not only is this impossible, that would be the sun in Ontario outside of Starbucks at 706 West Holt Boulevard, Ontario, California, 91762 at 7:34 a.m. hovering over me. All right, in the same way, it's in perfect alignment with me while I'm on the third floor inside of my apartment in Los Angeles, building number 1806, North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6, that is facing the mountains, the direction that I'm facing, the location, the address, the ecological address, and the ecological address where I'm at on April 24, 2024, the time and date. All of this is also additional information that's relevant. This is not a matter of rocket science. This is impossible that this would be the case, that this is the natural environment, that this is the sun. You also know that because the entity is keeping this light source in alignment to me, surrounding me with what is engineered light, not sunlight, for the duration of the day. Meaning 12 hours from now, this same light source I'm captured, reference the documentation from March 5th, 2024. Yesterday I misspoke, I said it was March 6th, I believe. It was March 5th. March 5th, 2024, the entity is maintaining the light source in the same way until 5 p.m. at the same address. It's literally just on the opposite side of the building. No, that's also speaking to what's not the sun. There's multiple ways of analyzing this, and this is speaking to, again, April 24th, it's 7:34 a.m. right now, and the light source is remaining right here in alignment to me, which is the pattern of conduct. But it's impossible that it's the natural environment or that it is the sun. The sun is something that would not be seen outside of my window anywhere in this sky space, while it remained over me as a matter of documentation at 7:34 in the morning as I stood outside Starbucks located at 706 West Holt Boulevard in Ontario, California, and it remained over me. I captured another video at 7:50 in the morning. 20 minutes later, the sun did not rapidly move to some position where it would be seen at some angle outside of anyone's window, let alone mine, at 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6 in Los Angeles, California. And this maintenance of this zenith presence in alignment to me, such that suggesting that this is sunlight, is also impossible to exist at the same time. The sun, in other words, is the sun. The one sun that we have, first of all, is not a hovering object that's literally aligned to my window on the third floor of a building. The sun is a star that's above us, first of all. Second of all, the sun does not create what is laser-like activity, all right, that creates multiple shadows, magnification of shadows, upright shadows. Third of all, the sun is not maintaining its zenith presence over everyone, everywhere at the same time, and that is also for the remainder of the day, all of which the entity is suggesting while I'm documenting what is the unnatural environment, the scientific impossibility, the phenomenon, the specific environment where federal group stalking and monitoring is underway, and it's going for the prosecution. All these houses you see, they're all group stalking, they're all in relevant position, and this is going toward their prosecution. You don't have to know the group stalker's name. This is a state system, and the state can't do it by themselves. That's why you're engaging in what is a demonic system, where the environment follows the targeted individual, and I've shown you all the aspects of that phenomenon, which are very real. That's why when I'm on public transportation, the entity is maintaining a light source in conflict with what the entity is doing with the light source here in Los Angeles, not only while it's here rising in alignment and setting in alignment with me, but while it remains here all day long, aiming any light whatsoever, in conflict with the existing record. Neither are happening at the same time. That body of evidence, none of it is coexisting with what the entity is doing in Los Angeles. But just as one example, I want you to reference April 24, 2022. At 7:34 a.m., at 7:50 a.m., that entire day is speaking to what the entity is doing, which is monitoring and group stalking, which is a violent sex offense committed by the masses. I'm subject to criminal surveillance by the demon possessed. That their condition is invisible physically. Their condition is readily knowable in the environment that they're in, and the environment you're never supposed to even notice. You're not even supposed to notice it. You're not even supposed to notice the environment that surrounds you. It's serving for what is a mass sex offense. And terrorism, while the entity, and they are the entity, they are the people of the state, and that's just one side. I'm taking pictures so that you can, I took pictures of all of the environment, everyone whose property is covered with what is engineered light, everybody who's under the light source that remains in alignment with me. outside of what is possible, which is the maintenance of a light source in Ontario, California, where it remained over me that entire day. I documented the whole day what the entity was doing with the light source. At no time would it ever be in Los Angeles. Los Angeles, by the way, is also west of Ontario. So there's multitudinous ways that you are looking at what's absolutely impossible and breaking wide the system of federal group stalking and monitoring. And this impunity, because that's what this impunity is going against the people. All right, like I said, these corrupt law enforcement agencies, they will cease to exist. Their criminal system has been exposed, and you're looking at the threat that they pose to American citizens, the enemies the enemies that they are to American citizens, and the ways in which they seek to literally sniff your life out and threaten you rather than correct what they're doing or stop what they're doing. The stalking conduct by the LAPD, not only is that going for the prosecution of their criminal partner, the people of the state, they're hurting themselves. But they're also speaking to what's necessary, and they're going to be removed. They are going to be snuffed out, okay? They are going to cease to exist. The LAPD is not too big for that. No one is too big to be removed. All right, they are literally a wound to American society. It is shameful what they are doing with regard to what our government is supposed to represent. And I am merely an American citizen who was subject to the criminal conduct. And let me be clear, the Los Angeles Police Department is only one example. The body of evidence that I have is speaking to, again, the impossibility where the other corrupt law enforcement agencies were group stalking and terrorizing in the same way that you see the Los Angeles Police Department doing, in the same exact specific environment. Demon possession, in other words, is very, very popular. All right, this is something that's occurring in darkness. This is something that exists in darkness, and it has become relevant because this is the methods whereby a government is targeting and terrorizing an American citizen. All right, so it is legally relevant, and it is a grounds for dismissal especially from office and from law enforcement. Oh yeah, they're engaging in a criminal system, and it's relevant to what their condition is, demon possession. None of this light is present inside of my apartment. If that was the sun over me, hovering over me at third-party facilitating venue Starbucks, located at 706 West Holt Boulevard in Ontario, California. All right, this is P.O.C.